Today, I would like to welcome you all to the first 2019 Manatee Tiger Bay Luncheon. Thank you so much for coming out to support our program, and we do hope you join later. That would be appreciative. My name is Xavier Bailey, and I am your 2019 president. And thank you for being here. Today's topic is Manatee County's crime rate. Our guests will be addressing the increase in crime rate and how they will continue to keep our community safe, along with many, many more issues that they feel is going to be important this year. Would you please stand for the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. If you all would please silence your cell phones at this time. And every year we like to thank our past presidents for the work that they do for the Manatee Tiger Bay and their commitment to educating our community. So we would like to bring up our outgoing president, Chris Wille. Come on down. Please give him a hand, please. You're on the other side. We would like to present Chris Wille in recognition of your outstanding service and leadership given to the Manatee Tiger Bay Club 2018. We would like to present you with this beautiful plaque.
Oh, that is beautiful. Thank you very much. I certainly enjoyed my year. That's good. That was terrific.
You love it?
Yes.
We're glad. Would you like to say anything else?
Well, standing up here before you for the last year has been quite enjoyable, and the membership here is great, and I love the answers to your questions, and I'm sure you're going to have some today. So, thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Here's your card, Chris. I just wanted to give you your card. Thank you. So I'm going to read to you the bios of today's speakers. We have Chief Melanie Bevan, Chief of Police of City of Bradenton, Chief William Tokajer, Chief of Police, City of Holmes Beach, Captain Lorenzo Waiters, the Palmetto Police Department, and Sheriff Rick Wells, Sheriff of Manatee County. First up, we have Chief Melanie Bevan. Chief Bevan became Chief of Bradenton Police Department in February 2016. She served the St. Petersburg Police Department for 29 years. She earned her bachelor's degree in criminal justice from St. Leo University in 1997, her master's degree in public administration from Troy State University in 2001, and her Doctor of Education degree in organizational leadership from Argosy University in 2011. She is an adjunct professor in the Homeland Security Program for State College of Florida. She performs contract work for the Office of the Commissioner for Major League Baseball and is a consultant in officer safety and wellness and police executive development. Chief Bevan is a graduate of the 219th session of the Federal Bureau of Investigation National Academy. She was one of 13 law enforcement leaders nationwide chosen to attend the Anti-Defamation League National Counterterrorism Seminar for police executives held in Israel. She completed the cohort of the Naval Postgraduate Center for Homeland Security and Defense, Homeland Security Executive Leaders Program in Monterey, California. She is a graduate of the 77th session of the FBI Law Enforcement Executive Development Seminar. Chief Bevan is a member of the International Leadership Association, International Association of Chiefs of Police, and Florida Police Chiefs Association. She has been a mentor for Take Stock in Children of Pinellas and Manatee County for 14 years. She received the St. Pete Chamber of Commerce Iconic Woman of the Year Award and the Women's Resource Center Wonder Woman Award. She was appointed by Florida Governor Rick Scott to the Statewide Council of Human Trafficking. Please welcome Chief Melanie Bevan.
I did not send that bio. Well, it's good I'm first. I didn't know if they were going to go with the whole ladies first or age before beauty. I would have been last either. No, age before. No, anyway, Rick would have probably taken my spot then, but I think everybody out here out-ages me. It's a pleasure to be here this afternoon. I'm sure I speak for all of us that we appreciate the invitation and the opportunity to share a little bit about what we are all doing from a law enforcement standpoint here in the Manatee County area. I'm going to try to get a little specific to Bradenton, although generally speaking, a lot of what we all say is going to really apply to everywhere throughout this entire area. I learned long ago you got to be real careful when it comes to your crime rate, because if you get real excited when it's at all-time lows and you claim those successes as your own, then guess what? When it goes up, you're going to have to claim those as your own as well. And the truth of the matter is, it's not really easily describable when it comes to specifically some of the crimes, what is causing them to peak, what is causing some to go down when it comes to your part one, more violent crimes. We could talk all day about homicides. A lot of those, as we know, are oftentimes domestic related. And to assert that the police department can get in there and make such a difference, that we make such a huge impact in those within our area, I think that we're getting a little beyond ourselves. What I can tell you that we do in Bradenton is make every effort to stay abreast of the trends that are happening in our area. You all have the opportunity to see our crime rates about every 6 months. Rest assured that we're looking at our crime rates every week. We know what is happening in our city. We know what arrests we've made. We know what crimes have happened. Every day, I get a report from the last shift, and again, I'm going to tell you that these guys are going to say the same thing, that tells me every single call that we went out on, every single crime that we investigated, every arrest we made that might have solved patterns, that type of thing. And so what we're constantly doing, whether our trends are up, whether they're down, is adjusting, readjusting, moving scarce resources. And when I say scarce, I'm not up here trying to tell you that I think that we're woefully understaffed, because that's not the case. I always make it a point to tell you that in the city of Bradenton, the police department enjoys a great relationship with our city officials. And it's not just because he's here, I promise. I will tell you that I have the best boss I've ever had in all my years of professional. This is for shorter people. I'm going to have to either get down or move this up a little bit. In all my years of being in police work, which is about 32, because he allows me the freedom to do what he thinks or what I think needs to be done to properly serve the citizens in our community. And likewise goes for the council, who every year has to approve my budget. For the most part, I get what I ask for. Every year that might get tweaked, it might change a little bit. This year, for the first time, we've shown a little bit of an increase in our population. We are seeing a little bit of an increase in our crime rate, and consequently, that might cause us to make some adjustments in my request for next year. But largely, they let us do what we need to do. And so back to kind of the adjustments and whatnot. Yes, this year, for the first time in many, many years, nearly 10 years, we have seen a spike in our crime. Specifically in the city of Bradenton, more than anywhere else in the county, upwards of 10%. What I will tell you, and this isn't making excuses, is that last year was an incredibly low year for us. One of the lowest years, I've got the stats up here, I don't really need to read them off to you, that we've seen in nearly a decade in the city. I'm not going to tell you that there's only one way you can go when you're at the lowest, which is back up. But what I can tell you is, instead of just looking from year to year, what we try to do is look at specifics, and what we also do is look at averages. If you look at the averages over the past 5 years, crime in the city of Bradenton is still down 10%. I think that that's a significant number. If you look at Part 2 crimes in the city, we are still down a whopping 24%. I think that is also quite a significant number. Why are my crime rates up? I think that there's a few answers to that. Notwithstanding the homicides, and I'm not going to talk to you about that, even though, knock on wood, and the sheriff tells me, Melanie, you should never say that, wow, you really don't have any homicides, because we all know then you get that call. We had 1 homicide last year. That was great, but I'm not going to own that. What we did see is an increase in our sexual batteries. What I will partially attribute that to, I think we would all understand that last year was a very significant time in the Me Too movement. I think for the first time in many, many years, young girls and women have found their voice. They recognize that the police have received just incredible additional training that makes them more acutely aware of the sensitive nature of those types of crimes. Whereas before we may have sat back and waited for somebody to come to us, we now go looking for victims of that type of crime through our work with various programs, to include the TILA program. And so what I will tell you is, and I know that might sound strange, but I'm warmed by the fact that those numbers have gone up, because it tells me that we have folks in our city who no longer are afraid of reporting, and that they're willing to come forward. And the more we can do, and we do try to encourage that, we will keep on that trend. Largely, a lot of the other numbers, and I know the other folks are going to talk about this, are due to some crimes that have forever plagued our city. And I can't really see the time because it's gone black. That have forever plagued our city and our county. The number one most preventable crime in America, we all know it. What is it? Auto break-ins, right? People who leave their car doors unlocked, they leave valuables out on the seat. It is the number one most preventable crime in America. That number alone drives my numbers up exponentially. Notwithstanding that, because I'm going to tell you, again, I'm still trending down 10%. What I think that we are doing right, and what we will continue to do, is that my time? One more minute. I think we're doing some fantastic things when it comes to community outreach, and community outreach in the form of preventative measures. One program that we have in the city called Walking the Beat. I force my officers to get out of their car every day for a minimum of 20 minutes to engage with our community, not to pat people down, not to frisk suspects, but to get out and talk and learn about what residents' concerns are, what we might be able to do better. If there's a suspicious house, a suspicious person, we collect that information. Last year, we logged 7,000 hours of that, of folks, of my officers getting out to do nothing but proactive police work. I think that's one of the many programs. Hopefully somebody, Mayor, will ask me that question that lobs up, what else are we doing to positively impact our community? I look forward to talking to you all a little bit about that later, so thank you for your time.
Thank you, Chief Bevan. Our next speaker is Chief William Tokajer. Chief Tokajer has a bachelor's degree in theology from Life Christian University. He graduated from FBI National Academy, Session 230. He has been in law enforcement for 39 years and served in the U.S. Army Military Police. He served in the U.S. Sheriff's Department and Bradenton Police Department. He retired as the Deputy Chief of Longboat Key Police Department and has served for the last 5.5 years as Chief of Police in the Holmes Beach Police Department. Chief Tokajer received awards in fitness, Rotary Club Paul Harris Fellow, Commendation Bar for life-saving efforts, Purple Heart for being shot in the line of duty, and Medal of Valor for the physically disarming a subject and saving the life of a fellow officer. He was Officer of the Year in the Grand Lodge of Free and Accepted Masons. Chief Tokajer has a certification of merit from MAD, Mothers Against Drunk Drivers. He has been president of the Manatee Children's Service Board of Directors for 25 years. Please welcome Chief William Tokajer. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having us. It's great when the community wants to know what's going on in law enforcement and is willing to listen to what we have to say. I have the pleasure of being the chief of Holmes Beach. It's a small community out on the island. I'm sure that you've driven through it, hopefully by doing the speed limit and wearing your seatbelt. We're serious about our speed. We're serious about seatbelts. And serious about drunk driving. I don't know if you noticed in the papers, if you read our island papers, last week a citizen said that they thought they had a get out of jail free card because they were a business person out there after they wrecked their Lamborghini. Not happening. Nobody gets a pass for DUI. So in Holmes Beach, we have a rather low crime rate. Very happy about that. Like Melanie said, though, you can't really take credit for that. Otherwise, you have to take credit for your raises in crime. Over the past 5 years that I've been chief, we went from 146 UCR crimes, the ones that the FDLE tracks, down to 49 this past year. So we've had a decrease in our crime for the past 5 years. Like they've said, a lot of it is crimes are our larcenies and burglaries. So what we did was we saw that as a problem and we reached out to our citizens and we told them that when they go on vacation, we want them to come and tell us because we're small. We can handle that, okay? County couldn't do that. Bradenton couldn't do that because there's so many people out there. But we have only 4,000 residents. So if they go on vacation, they do what we call our house check program. And they come and they let us know when they're leaving, when they're coming back. We do an inspection of their house to make sure all their doors and windows lock, and if they have a boat out back, so that when my officers go by there weekly to check on the house, they know if anything's missing or been disturbed. So that's helped us reduce our burglaries. With our larcenies from the cars, what we did was we started a serious campaign on parking, because that's where the cars are being broken into at our beach accesses. So my officers are flooding the area and our code enforcement floods the area, with high visibility, and that's helped us to reduce the car break-ins because they see our officers, so then they go to another community to break into their cars. Sorry, it's not you guys. I think they go to Bradenton Beach and Longboat Key. They're not here. But what we have to look at is, like Melanie said, she's had the pleasure of having the officers they need. That's not always the case. When we have new developments that come in, there should be a way to equate the number of people that are moving in there into the increase for that community's law enforcement. I don't think that that's being done. We have license plate recognition cameras going in on the island. They're putting in the electric right now. So like Longboat Key and the Sheriff Department, it's the same system, so we can all talk to each other. That's one thing that we have in this community that you guys enjoy that a lot of other communities don't have, is there is no turf war. We talk to each other every day. We meet whenever there's a need to meet. Monthly, we have a meeting where we discuss anything that's come up, but we don't wait for that meeting if there's a problem. If I need something from the Sheriff's Department or from Bradenton Police, all it takes is a phone call, and I've got the assistance that I need, because I don't have a helicopter or canines. I don't have the amount of traffic homicide investigators that they do. So we have that opportunity because we work together, and there is no infighting between the sheriff and between the police departments like you see in other communities. When we talk to other communities, they tell us that it's unheard of that the sheriff and the police officers aren't communicating and aren't talking to each other. They don't have that luxury. Like they said, I started law enforcement in 1979. I've seen a lot of changes. Henry Blyden, right over there, he recruited me into the Army Military Police. He was my recruiter, got me started almost 40 years ago. June will be 40 years. So without him, I wouldn't be where I am now. He got me in there and got me started. As a 18-year-old, you can't get on law enforcement. You have to actually have a little bit more than that, but I was able to do it in the Army, and so I was real happy about that. With our population out on Holmes Beach, we have 4,000 residents, but we have an average of 15,000 people there a day. Weekends and holidays could go up to 20 to 40,000. I have the police department for the 4,000 residents that we have, not the police department for the 40,000 people that are there on a holiday. It doesn't change the amount of people we have out there, but my guys do an excellent job. They're very visible. If you've driven out there, you've seen the cars with the wave on the side. It says Holmes Beach on it. We made them stand out so that people would see them. That helps us with our proactive, high visibility policing. How am I doing on time? All right, good deal. We partner with our community. We reach out to them. We tell them that we want them to tell us if they see something. We have the Neighborhood Watch and the Business Watch groups that let us know what they're seeing in the community, what trends they're seeing if people look at a place, and they're not afraid to call us, and that has helped us tremendously. We do Coffee with a Cop programs. We have an Ice Cream with a Cop we did with the kids. Adults wanted to come to that one too, but we sort of tell them, hey, give the kids their time. I don't want you out there throwing a beanball and everything. And let's let the kids have a little bit of fun and get to enjoy themselves with the police officers. We make a lot of arrests. If you're committing a crime on Holmes Beach, chances are you're going to get caught. There's traffic out there. So when somebody commits a crime at the north end or the south end, there's only one way off the island. So if we head towards the bridge, we're going to catch you before you leave. And it works very well. We help out the Sheriff's Department in Anna Maria. People get out of Anna Maria is only 1 mile. So they get out of Anna Maria quick, but as long as they give us a call, we help catch them. And like I said, we work together. Works out great. We have on Anna Maria Island, there's 3 cities. That's 3 sets of councils, 3 mayors, 3 sets of different policies. When you leave one city, you have to know the new parking laws for the next one, because they're all different. You can drive a golf cart in Holmes Beach, but you can't drive a golf cart in Anna Maria or in Bradenton Beach. They have to be a low-speed vehicle. It has to be registered. So there's a lot that goes on between the 3 cities, in that little small community that we have challenges with, but we work them out. Other than that, I'll be open for questions from anybody. And once again, thank you for having us here. We enjoy coming and talking and telling you what we do and what we've done right, and at times what we need to work on. So thank you.
Thank you, Chief Tokajer. Next, we will have Captain Lorenzo Waiters of the Palmetto Police Department. Captain Waiters was born and raised in Manatee County and attended Manatee County schools. He began his service in law enforcement with the Manatee County Sheriff's Office in 1979 and rose through the ranks from patrol deputy to patrol sergeant. He was sergeant of the Community Policing Unit, and when the Sheriff's Office received the original grant from Washington, D.C. under President Clinton, he represented the Sheriff's Office and attended the ceremony in D.C. Captain Waiters was promoted to lieutenant in the Patrol Division and transferred to the Civil Enforcement Section in the Administrative Division of the Sheriff's Office. He was transferred to Crime Prevention and promoted to Captain in Patrol as the District 3 Patrol Commander. Captain Waiters retired from the Sheriff's Office in September 2015 after 36 years of continuous service. 6 months after his retirement, he was asked by the new sheriff to return as part-time recruiter for the Sheriff's Office, eventually turning into a full-time position. He left the Sheriff's Office in October 2017 and joined the Palmetto Police Department as the patrol commander, where he works closely with Chief Scott Tyler on a daily basis and works within the community to strengthen the ties. Captain Waiters serves on the board of directors at Centerstone of Florida and the Manatee County Bridging the Gap Advisory Board. Captain Waiters is a member of the Florida Association of Hostage Negotiators and holds the position as a past president. Captain Waiters has been a negotiator for over 25 years. Please welcome Captain Lorenzo Waiters.
And I get 20 minutes. Good afternoon. Unfortunately, the chief, Scott Tyler, couldn't make it today, and so I'm here to stand in his place. First, we're going to go ahead and throw the numbers out of the way first, and then we'll talk about Palmetto. We've had a slight increase in crime, about 4% overall. We had a decrease in violent crimes in the city of Palmetto, and larcenies and auto burglars. And as both the sheriff will say and the chief has said, the biggest problems that we have with the auto burglaries is that people will not lock their cars. And that contributes to the majority of the increase of the burglaries that we have in this city of Palmetto. Where the crime used to be on the increase east of 8th Avenue, it has moved to the west of 8th Avenue, and we've had an increase with auto thefts associated with the auto burglaries because why? Exactly. So it's a double whammy. So here recently, what larcenies, of course, is contributed to, and without saying anything about the department stores, we have a Walmart, which all cities except for have a Walmart, and we have a lot of shoplifters. And rightfully so, we arrest most of the offenders, but it does show an increase in larcenies. So here, I'm going to say 2 weeks ago, we had a little crime wave where we had about 4 juveniles get out. They broke into a car that was unlocked. They got the remote to the garage door, which was left in the unlocked car, which got into the garage, which got into the car, which took amount of money out of the car, which took the key to the car that was in the garage, which left there. Now this is kind of funny because they go to Walmart with the money, they buy a video game and a TV, and they get an extended warranty on the video game. Now, I tell you, you can't make this stuff up, okay? It gets even better. Of course, I said they stole money, correct? And it was a group of them. One beat the other one up and took his money. What do you think he did? I'm telling you, you can't make it up. You can't. So when we talk about how we're going to prevent, is education. And is educating the public on how to, as we say in crime prevention, harden your target. And that's, for example, when you come home, I know everybody's tired. We're all tired. We worked a long, hard day, and we just want to get out of our car and just run in the house. But just go through steps. Whatever you put in your car in the morning, you should, exactly, take it out with you. We have all had them where they left guns in the car. Now, when you leave guns in the car, it puts our officers' lives in jeopardy, and also the community. So if you got a gun in the car, take it out. If you have a wallet, iPad or computer, everything should be taken out. And especially if you're going to park your car in the driveway, take out your garage door opener. Do not leave it in there, okay? Take it all out. And then we had another crime spree associated with shoplifting, and it was 2 girls. For about 2 months, they would go from Publix to Winn-Dixie to Walmart, and they had all 3 liquor stores, and we couldn't catch them. And what they would do is they will steal the liquor, and they would take it to wherever they bought their drugs, and then they would sell it. And luckily, we were able to do surveillance in the parking lot by working with all 3 stores, and we apprehended them. So we got that out of the way. But again, education is the key to everything. We go out to the mobile home parks, and we preach crime prevention. We go to whatever homeowners association, and we preach crime prevention. We have people that will come into our office, and I know this is the time for everybody doing their income tax, and what that comes is fraud. And the elderly is the biggest victim when it comes to that. And we've had so many people that have come to our office where we stopped them, thank God, from, where they get a number from the Internal Revenue Service saying, if you don't pay us, we're going to put you in jail, or I have a warrant for your arrest. And luckily, they come to us first, and we're able to guide them. And so, again, with education, I believe that we can hopefully reduce the crime within the city and within the county, because what we have, and I don't know other communities, but what we have a close working relationship with the Sheriff's Office and with the Bradenton Police Department. You're too far from us. And with the Bradenton Police Department. Nothing against you, just saying. So, but we have a close working relationship, because whatever happens in the city of Bradenton is going to carry over into the city of Palmetto. Whatever happens in the Sheriff's Office is vice versa. So that's why we have a very close working relationship. So that's all I have to present today, and I'll be open to any questions that you may have later. Thank you.
Thank you, Captain Waiters. That was quite comical. Appreciate it. Next, we will have Sheriff Rick Wells. Sheriff Rick Wells was sworn in as sheriff as Manatee County January 3rd, 2017. He was Palmetto Police Department's police chief from 2010 to 2015, and also spent 21 years at the Florida Highway Patrol, where he was promoted to the rank of sergeant. Accumulatively, Sheriff Wells has spent over 31 years in law enforcement. Sheriff Wells was born in Tampa, Florida, moving to Manatee County in 1978. He graduated from Manatee High School in 1982, attended Manatee Junior College, and has his associate's in science degree in criminal justice administration from the Columbia Southern University. He is a graduate of the St. Leo University Command Officer Management Program. Sheriff Wells was named the Manatee County Law Enforcement Officer of the Year in 1991. He received the Manatee County Whitey Knudsen Award in 1991, UNIDO's Now Visionary Award in 2012, the NAACP Humanitarian Award in 2014, and the Eggert H. Price Jr. Humanitarian Award in 2016. Sheriff Wells has taught law enforcement to governmental, educational, and community organizations throughout Florida. He is currently the Executive Director of the Manatee County Police League, Chairperson of the Manatee County Law Enforcement Council, Board Member of the Florida Sheriff's Youth Franchise, Board Member, Law Enforcement Advisory Board Council for the Manatee Technical College, Board Member of the North Manatee Kiwanis, Replay Advisory Council, and Strengthen Action. Sheriff Wells has served with the Boy Scouts of America, Keep Manatee Beautiful, Manatee Substance Abuse Prevention Coalition, and the North Manatee Storm Football. Please welcome Sheriff Rick Wells.
Thank you all very much. It's a pleasure for me to be here, and I know I speak for the chiefs and the captain. We enjoy the opportunity to come before the community and to talk to them about the crime trends, what we need to do to fix them, and how we can prevent. I do want to say this. I want to throw this on the table right now. If you come to me, if you call me, and you tell me that you're going on vacation, I'm just going to tell you, have a great time and enjoy your trip. I can't do what Chief Tokajer does, but I really do hope that you enjoy your vacation. I know it's much needed. So I think what happened with the crime and maybe some of the concerns is the semi-annual report, which is done by FDLE, which is really, it incorporates the first 6 months of the year, so we're going back to 2018. Unfortunately, when that comes out, it's almost the end of 2018 when the actual numbers come out. So for me, for the Sheriff's Office, when those numbers come out in October, you saw basically a 9% increase in crime. But what you don't know, just like Chief Bevan spoke about, is we constantly meet with the staff and the commanders of my districts on what's going on with crime in their district and how we are going to combat that. So we already were addressing the increase. So really, when the semi-annual report came out, the numbers were already dropping. It was really higher than that at one time. So the 9% was already starting to come down. And once again, it's about vehicle burglaries. It's about vehicle burglaries. It's about auto theft because of vehicle burglaries. And it was about larcenies, retail theft. So let me tell you what happened on the retail theft side. For us in the county, and I don't know if Walmart did this throughout the county, but they started a diversion program in 2017 where they tried not to arrest those that were shoplifting, minor shoplifting crimes within their store. They started a diversion program, and the idea was, it was a good idea, I thought, a good concept, is to let these first-time offenders who had just stolen a small item to have the opportunity to go through the system and to basically not have that on their record as long as they completed the program. I don't know why. So that really drove the numbers way down for us in 2017 because these programs were working. Young offenders were going through them and older offenders as well. For whatever reason, Walmart decided they were no longer going to do that. So in 2018, all these numbers, right? So you're always working off of last year's numbers, as you know. So they went up. So that hurt us because we had to go in and start arresting these shoplifters that Walmart wanted to be prosecuted. So that was a huge increase. I could tell you that we had over 900 vehicle burglaries though in the county, and we could just continue to hammer the reasons why, and I will, because I think it's important for us to continue to educate our friends and our families and those that we're close to, because it just really is preventable. Now, we can do a lot of things, but we can't really do anything about a criminal's desire or their ability to commit a crime. But we can eliminate, we can limit the opportunity, and that's all we're talking about here. You know, we had people that were just inviting a criminal to break into their car, and we started a program with the Ring, the doorbell, the video camera. They People sign up. If you have citizens that have a ring, they'll sign up and they'll send us these videos of what's going on, the crime going on that they see, that their video's picking up. It's been a huge success for us. But what you see is young males, primarily, 5 or 6 of them in a car, usually a stolen car, pull up into a neighborhood, they get out, they just walk the streets, checking door handles. That's all they want to do is check door handles, and if they find an unlocked vehicle, they're going to open it up and they're going to go inside. Why? Because they don't want to smash a window out at 3 o'clock in the morning in a neighborhood because it's going to be loud. They're not trying to draw any attention. So if we, as a community, if we could just lock the doors, once again, remove our personal belongings, we could take away, we could limit a lot of that opportunity that we're giving them. And that has been the main reason. Violent crime is down. We made a concerted effort last year. We concentrated. I have 2 detectives. One's on the FBI task force, I have one on the ATF, alcohol, tobacco, and firearm. We worked together. My concern was convicted felons that were in our community with guns need to be taken off the streets. We focused very hard on making sure that those that did not deserve the right to carry a firearm were not carrying them. So we're down 10% on violent crimes, ag assault, sexual batteries, robberies. Those that you hear about the most are down. We're about 2% up in property crimes. But in saying that, our numbers for 2018 are lower than the numbers in 2016. They're just a little bit higher than the numbers in 2017. So it's not, mass chaos out there. It's just that when people see the initial numbers, they think that crime is rampant, when really it's not. It's things that we can control. It's things that we can do. I want you to think about some of the crime prevention tips that can be effective in your own family. How many in this room have a push-to-start vehicle? Have you ever thought about where your key fob is and to comparison in connection with your vehicle? How close is your vehicle to that key fob, even though you're putting it inside? Have you ever tried to go outside and start your car even though the key fob's inside? You need to try. If that door is unlocked, just because it's in the driveway and the key fob's inside does not mean the car won't start. What matters is how far that key fob is away from the vehicle. So sometimes they would just check it, just for the heck of it. Let's see if I can push start. Well, it started up. Now they can't start it again once they shut it off, but they can take a joyride and they can go around as far as they want until they run out of gas. So just simple things that you need to pay attention to and for your own personal safety. Guns are left in cars, purses are left in cars, wallets are left in cars in plain view. We've got to try to limit that opportunity. I think our crime prevention team continues to educate. We do everything we can. I don't know if you have the Nextdoor app, but we send out every night at 9 o'clock. First of all, we let you know if we've had any trends over the last 24 hours, and then we just kind of remind you to check your vehicle, lock your doors, and remove your belongings. So we're just trying to limit, once again, that opportunity so we can really continue to drive the numbers down. So that's really, in a nutshell, where the numbers rose. Vehicle burglaries, auto thefts because of that, and then retail theft. All right, thank you all very much. We'll be open for questions.
Thank you so much to all of our panels. Very, very great presentations, and we thank you all for what you do every day. Question and answer time. So to ask a question, our speakers, you must be a Tiger Bay member. If you are not a member at this time, please see Elaine. Elaine, raise your hand. She's ready. Please state your name and whether you are a member of Manatee Tiger Bay Club. Members are limited to 1 question.
My name is Becky Kness, and I'm a member of the Tiger Bay Club Board of Directors. This doesn't sound like it's on. It's on? Okay. First of all, what a great panel, a distinguished panel, and I'm grateful for all that you've been doing in the community regarding prevention. Captain Waiters, it was great to hear you mention education as a key component. I'd be interested in hearing a little bit more about what's happening in school safety and juvenile crime, and some of the steps that you're taking to improve safety of our youngest citizens here in Manatee County.
So I'll speak on the county side. So after the Parkland shooting, at that time, Dr. Green and I had a conversation that day. And the topic was, what are we going to do to keep our schools safe? As you know, we have SROs in middle schools and high schools. But at that particular time, we had no security whatsoever in elementary schools. So we met with the school board, and in the very beginning, they were adamant that they wanted an SRO or a trained deputy or officer in the elementary schools. And we did that within 2 weeks after the Parkland shooting. So that's where it began. And then later on, with the legislation being passed, with the funds being available for either SROs for counties or the guardians, unfortunately, they didn't believe they had the funds to continue with SROs in the elementary. So they decided that the guardians would have to be the next best thing. I will say this, I'm responsible for training the guardians. We have a tremendous group of retired military and retired law enforcement personnel that decided that they were not done with helping others. They did not want to retire as fast as they thought they did. So they're in our schools. So they're armed. We train them. We do the yearly training. So that's where we're at right now. And I don't know if there's going to be any changes. As far as juvenile crime, I'm a big proponent of trying to give juveniles another chance to make things right and not automatically put them in jail. We are a big proponent of the civil citation program, where they're given a second chance, so they don't have that on their record, and they're not hurt later on in life when they become an adult. So we do a lot of things to keep them in diversion programs and to keep that record clean. So thank you for your question.
In the city of Palmetto, we have two schools. We have one high school and an elementary school. And at Palmetto High School, we added an additional school resource officer. And we already had one at Palmetto Elementary. We have 3 charter schools, and they added guardians. So we work closely with those guardians. Now, I'm going to speak a little bit about juvenile crime, or juveniles in general. So sometimes, especially when it's the kids, say, first time getting in trouble, or as we say, acting out, sometimes we have to find out why, what's occurring at home. And I know a representative from the sheriff's office and from the police department, we sit on different advisory boards dealing with juvenile justice and DCF. So we work closely with the state in dealing with alternatives, rather than, incarcerating juveniles.
I just wanted to grab the mic for a quick second. Recently, I came back from a Florida Police Chiefs Conference. These are the very types of things that we sit around at a round table and discuss. One of my takeaways, who'd have thought when I first became a cop, we went out there with our car keys and a fire extinguisher, and that was about it. Now you look at our trunks, they're loaded up. Some of the feedback was if an event happened here at one of our schools with all the chains and the padlocks, how would we get in? Just recently, we started in the past year at the mayor's direction, the Bradenton Blue Foundation. That's an organization that helps provide funding for safety and wellness issues, and particularly juvenile type issues. We just last week went to them and asked them for $6,000 to provide those safety tools for the trunks of our cruisers. So every squad now is going to have 2 sets of those tools in their cars. As well, I think Miss Young, where is she? She mentioned to me last week, she goes, I just became a Take Stock in Children mentor And she goes, and I was so surprised and warmed to see that you saw 6 or 7 of my officers in the class to learn how to become a mentor. You may have noticed in the paper a couple weeks ago, one of the sheriffs came out and said, you know, some of these school resource officers need backups. I said, well, what better backup than if I have one of my officers sitting in a classroom helping mentor these kids? And so the call went out. We have a program at Bradenton. We'll pay them to go and mentor during their workday. And so we just put, I think, 12 new mentors in our school that are going to be there at various times. Cruisers there, very obvious. Just 2 of the things that we did that we think are helping to make our school safer.
Holmes Beach, we have 1 elementary school, and we've had a school resource officer there full-time for many years. 5 years ago, I got the school board to start chipping in on paying for that. And all of us did safety surveys and security surveys of every school in Manatee County over the last year. So,
Thank you. I appreciate the efforts you're doing for prevention. And one of the statistics as a follow-up that I read about, one of the biggest reasons or causes behind the crime rate is drugs. Could you touch a little bit on how we're doing with our drug prevention programming and their opportunities to help reduce crimes related to drug use?
Sure. Sorry, and the question was, what are we doing in general for drug prevention?
How is the crime rate related to drugs? Because we understand they drive a lot of the theft and crime that's happening.
Yeah, maybe I can speak for everybody. We all recognize, I will tell you a few years ago when I arrived, I think the sheriff and his team were already on top of what was a very prevalent issue within the county. You know, the opioid use had gone through the roof. I will tell you that since that time, you know, they say you can't arrest your way out of that situation, but there are a lot of enforcement type initiatives you can undertake that accomplishes to a degree the same goal, because our goal is to get these drug dealers out of our city, out of our community. I think we've worked hand in hand with task forces collectively together. We've rounded up the worst of the worst and sent them off to places where we will never see them again. And you're right, a lot of the burglaries we're talking about, the thefts we're talking about, these aren't people that wake up one day and say, hey, you know, I want to go buy a new car, let me go break into somebody's house. These are people that are desperate. They're breaking into homes and cars to get money for drugs. I think at large what we are doing when it comes to diversion programs, what we are doing, we've got some great social service agencies in our area that we work hand in hand with. I think we're all doing a fantastic job when it comes to balancing arrest and treatment, and we're not seeing our overdoses go up. What we're seeing is some of our drug arrests go up, and you know, we're seeing, I'll keep it short because I know some other people are in line. I think we're doing pretty good in there. I'm pleased with our efforts, and I will tell you, we all work very closely together because drug dealers don't know where our city boundaries start and stop, and so we're hammering that out pretty good.
I'll make this short on the prevention side. So we know that those that are addicted to drugs are going to commit property crimes, and that's why they go to jail. So we've been very eager to help those that are suffering with the addiction. So the first thing that we did back 2 years ago, we opened up 2 recovery pods in the jail, knowing that they're going to be in our jail for property crime. So is there anything that we can do right then and there to help them through the 12-step program? Can we start to get them off of the drug of choice for them? So that's been very successful. I have faith-based Bayside. We have the Salvation Army. We have counselors in there, and we just try to get them into the mindset of what the 12-step program is all about, and to get them off of that, you know, terrible drug. On the enforcement side, the main concern with the heroin and the fentanyl was to put those responsible for selling into federal prison. So we went with the U.S. Attorney's Office and we prosecuted on the federal side instead of the state side because we wanted them to stay in prison. They were killing people in our community. They knew they were, but they did not care. So at this point, we put 43 drug traffickers and drug dealers in federal prison with 122 federal indictments. So right now we are 72% down on overdoses and 73% down in deaths related to overdoses, and we continue to fight to make that a daily occurrence. Thank you.
That's great news. Thank you.
Next question, please. Please try to keep it down to one question due to time.
Hi, I'm Rosalie Schaefer, and I'm a member. I wanted to ask any and all of you, what do you see as the biggest challenge to your office and whether or not it can be fixed?
Yeah, I got to be her up here because she talks too much. But the biggest issue that we have right now is growth. It's trying to keep up with the growth. I mean, it's one thing to talk about, bringing in new businesses and bringing in new citizens and all the housing developments that are going up. But let me tell you something. We have to put the manpower in place to help with that. I can't be proactive in fighting crime if we're not keeping up with the growth. That's the conversation that I have on a regular basis with the commissioners, is that we've got to continue to put the manpower in place and the women power in place to keep up. Because, I mean, we wear this uniform, we drive that car, not because we want to look fancy, it's so we can be identifiable. So we want to deter crime. I want to be proactive. I want my deputies to be able to drive through neighborhoods more than one time a shift and to be seen and to deter. So growth is what we are struggling with. Because I've got east side and north side, it's exploding. It's exploding, and we've got to continue to try to put the deputies in place. Thank you.
I was going to figure out a way to fit this in either before or after, but you asked that question. I'm going to take a different approach. I will tell you my biggest issue as a chief of police is the safety and wellness of my officers. Last year, 118 officers died in the line of duty, but 160, and that's probably far underreported, committed suicide. In the past 3 months in the Tampa Bay area, 3 law enforcement officers killed themselves, and 2 of those folks took people with them. This is a dangerous job. I come in every day, and everybody knows my coined phrase. I've got 120 officers under my command who show up for work every morning, and by God, I need 120 officers to go home every night. It's a dangerous job. It's a life-threatening job. I still don't know that the public really realizes what we are up against. We've enjoyed a great deal of safety and security in this community. We haven't seen an officer death of either type in quite some time, but as a profession, we're suffering out there. And as a chief executive, I know that, again, I speak as a member of the executive board of the Florida Police Chiefs Association. The health and wellness of our officers is going to be our #1 concern this year. We're trying to make sure that they show up healthy physically, emotionally, and mentally. We're looking at new programs to help assist them with that. When they realize what's happening all around them, you're not getting the whole officer. And what you need out there to help keep you safe is the whole officer. That's the officer that you want showing up at your door. So I will tell you that's one of my main concerns and something that we're going to be trying to tackle in a much larger manner this year.
Chief, I'm not saying this because you're saying it, okay? So I'm not piggybacking off you cheating. Recently, we had a supervisors meeting, and ironically, what you just spoke about is what I challenge each and one of my supervisors with, is that come in contact with your officers on a regular basis, but not as a supervisor. If you can get what I'm saying, not, I need you to write this report, I need you to go to this call, but hey, what are you doing? Hey, let's meet for a cup of coffee, let's get a drink. And but through conversation is when you find out if there's something's going on in somebody's life. Now, I'm not asking them to pry into their life, But by doing that, you get to, they'll open up to you, and they'll let you know if they're maybe struggling with a divorce, or there's some type of issue that's going on. As in my bio, it says that, yes, I sit on the board of directors for Centerstone. But one of my passions is mental illness, people with mental illness, because as the chief said, it's not isolated just to the people that we deal with on the street. It can affect us because we see some of the worst things that you could ever imagine. And so when you're sitting home watching TV and you're going, oh my God, he did, and then it goes to a commercial. Well, we don't go to commercial. We see it, and then we take it home with us. And then I can tell you when I started back in the day, back in 19, way back then, there was never anything that was given to a law enforcement officer to get through things like that, through seeing people commit suicide or going to a violent domestic or homicide scene. But now we have that in place. So it's upon our supervisors, the people that we put in place that has daily contact with those officers, to see that and to work with those officers. So just recently I challenged my supervisors with that. Thank you.
I don't see anyone in line, and one thing that do we have someone?
I've asked people to sit down. If we have time for one more, it's a quick one. Lisa Chidro, I am a board member. I think Elaine, or she's not paying attention. I don't know if I paid my dues. She'll get me later. It's the it's for everyone, but it's the invited question from Chief Bevan. I'm not sure if it was already answered, is what else are you doing? You had enthusiasm talking about the preventative and what you're out there community policing. Is there anything else that you can expand on?
I think somewhat I tried to get into some of my other responses. I think we're doing some great programs throughout the community, especially involving our youth. This past holiday season, we had a number, if you guys tuned into any news station, y'all probably saw some of the fundraisers, fill in the SWAT van with gifts. We really focused in on some of the kids displaced by the drug problem. The foster kids made sure that they had presents under the tree. All told, tens of thousands of dollars worth of gifts that my officers helped raise, or we put it in ourselves out of our own pockets. And my officers aren't rich by any means, but it meant that much to us. Rick over there talked a little bit about our ring program. I will tell you that's a force multiplier for us. If you all have cameras, I believe we all have programs now that you need to consider where you register your cameras with us. It doesn't mean we can start looking at everything. It just means that if there's a crime that happens in your area, we will know about it. We'll call you and say, hey, there was a crime in this area. We want to know if any of your cameras may have picked something up. Please consider that. Other than that, we focus a lot on the youth. They're our future leaders, so the more we can positively impact them, the better off we're all going to be, and I think we're doing some great things with that. But thank you for the question.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for your questions. Thank you, panelists, for answering them. Now we have the Tiger by the Tail Award presentation, and also we're going to be accepting your questions, pre-questions, before our meetings now. So if there's questions that you have for our next meeting, please feel welcome to be able to present that for us.
Well, thank you, Madam President. As a board member of Tiger Bay, the best question that really got a lot of attention and really got a lot of conversation from this wonderful panel that we have. Best challenges in your offices. And that's Ms. Schaefer, get the tiger by the tail, as the best question for today.
And congratulations. I would just like to say thank you on behalf of the board for attending this luncheon. Thank you for the questions. Thank you again to our speakers. I would like to acknowledge our board members really quick. If you please would stand up, please, and be acknowledged. Are you there? Please give them a round of applause. Thank you for what you do. Our next luncheon will be on the 4th, Thursday, which will be February 28th. This program will be the school board and some of their leaders, including the interim superintendent, Cynthia Saunders, and some of her department leads. So if you have not signed up, please sign up. Sign up, please. And thank you to METV for filming today. We appreciate everything you do. Thanks to Charles Clapsaddle, the crew for taping. As always, you can check out their website at metvweb.com. Thank you so much. Have a great day.